Okay, I believe we are live. Back from my self-inflicted hiatus. It is me, Sisyphus. And I am the only one online. And I am doxxed now. So I just wanted to okay, now put on the chat. And let's see if that works. And there it is. Okay, cool. Alright, I believe I'm the only one watching. Okay. So, I am just here trying a new method of doing things. I am doxxed, as everybody knows. Big whippy. But it is alright. Oh man, that is, yeah, it'll be alright. Apparently, my stream health is okay. This just looks like dirt for some reason. Oh well. Okay, so this is the new format of Rolling with Sisyphus. It will be primarily by myself. Every once in a while I may have a guest, but what I found out is I am way too narcissistic to really listen to other people. To start off, I wanted to say that I am apologize to Doc Griffin and all of our guests, because I would show up more than half drunk, like 5/8 drunk, and by the end of the show I was completely drunk. So beginning with that, and then yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a lot of more like, what do you call it, going over articles and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and begin the first article. And Chris Brown has been arrested for a felony warrant after his Thursday night concert. It reads, the 29-year-old singer was taken into police custody by Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office for an out-of-county warrant, according to our online records. Police waited for Brown to finish his set before they escorted him to cruiser, TMZ reports. He was booked at 11 p.m. local time and placed on a $2,000 bond, which he posted and was released just before midnight, according to records. The warrant was for felony battery, issued in April 2017. So I do not know if that had to do with at the same time whenever he had his thing with Rihanna, like if it was on papers or anything like that. But it says, as people reported at the time, police said Brown allegedly sucker punched a 29-year-old club photographer in a Tampa paid performance at the AGA channel site around 1 a.m. local time, April 17th. The alleged victim claimed that Brown attacked him because he was taking photos after Brown arrived at the venue for an after-party showing. Brown had left by the time officers arrived on the scene, and the victim declined medical attention, though he suffered a minor cut to his lip, according to police. The victim said he intended to prosecute. Well, of course he intended to prosecute, but it really doesn't matter anymore. So, in a statement to Facebook at the time, the club wrote, instance like the one caused by Chris Brown is and his team are very sad to see. As everyone witnessed, he showed up to the club around 1:30 a.m. Only after a few minutes of being there, Chris Brown himself and his team assaulted our club photographer and proceeded to walk out the venue. That just seems to be the way it works, right? I mean, once you start getting involved in stuff, then it just keeps happening. And I'm guessing he was still on papers at the time, which means that he might end up with some actual jail time, believe it or not. Which to me is very comical. Hmm. I am having problems. Apparently it's saying that I'm running, but for some reason the video is not going. It's showing me live here. Try refreshing it. It says I'm live. Okay, so I think you have to, if you were not aware, you're going to have to re-click it, but I think most people understand how to do it. I don't really know how, because I am a moron when it comes to that type of stuff. But I guess I will so so that happened in 2009 whenever he assaulted Rihanna, so he probably wasn't on any probation or anything whenever he got into this felony battery. It doesn't look good though. After a $2,000 bond and a felony warrant, I think that he may have to do some more. Okay, let's see. Alright, so again, okay, so I will just continue on now, and we have our next article. And that is the whole thing with Bret Hart. Bret Hart and Owen Hart. Bret Hart is WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hart recently appeared on CBS In Your Corner podcast and discussed his brother Owen, specifically how deserving he is of the Hall of Fame place and his widow Martha. If you guys don't know about who Bret Hart is, Bret Hart was probably my favorite wrestler whenever I was a kid. He was, if he was, okay, hold on, I got some problems going on here. Edit, go settings. Encoding, stream, advanced. Okay, let's try to just slow down that bitrate a little. Okay, see how that works. Alright. Oh, gosh dang it. There we go. This is a quote from Bret. Owen was the nicest, kindest, most adored wrestlers for his kindness. Like, he's not remembered for his high flying and maybe remembered for his practical jokes, but more importantly, he is remembered for the kind of guy that would bring the kind of guy he was, and being a real friend to people when they were struggling or got depressed and were bummed out about being away from their home all the time. Owen was one of those kind guys where it was almost like magic, where he could pick up your spirits and make you smile to get you through the day. There are a lot of great wrestlers who haven't... What the heck's that saying? Encoding overload. I'm having problems with my... This is kind of a test stream, I guess you'd call it. Encode and overload. Consider turning down your what? What am I supposed to consider turning down? Okay, so... It's yelling at me, but I don't know what it's saying. Okay. Video sentence or using a faster, okay. So turning video settings. Alright, so we will go to settings, video. Okay, I guess we'll keep going. I will have to mess with the video or try that. Try to actually apply. Okay. Now let's see what's going. It seems to be going okay, and I think that might have helped. It's not yelling at me. There it goes, encode and overload. What's going on, Doc? I am currently loving your favorite program, OBS. It's telling me about how I'm doing something wrong, of course. But actually, right now, I am talking about Owen Hart and how personally I don't think he should be part of the Hall of Fame. But that's just my own opinion about it. He got famous for dying. I mean, it's kind of like the whole Trump thing with McCain. You know, you got famous for being captured. You know, it's Owen Hart was a B-rate wrestler at the best, but his brother's really for it. But his wife is not. His wife is vehemently opposed of him being in the Hall of Fame. And we're going to continue the quote. He was a 2-time Slammy Award winner. I did not know that. I mean, I have to, I don't know. I guess I was in a little bit after his time. But I'll continue on. It says that, then this quoted from Brett, you look at the people they have in the Hall of Fame, even some of the celebrities in there, and you go, for me personally, with Owen not being in the Hall of Fame, there's a lot of people that belong in the Hall of Fame that are not in it. If it turns out that WWE is going to keep the Hall of Fame, yes, his wife, yes, exactly. But she's so vehemently opposed to it, I'm kind of wondering what her deal is. Why? Here we go. Okay. Well, I've already read this before. She doesn't really talk about it. Martha Hart is perceived as being the main reason Owen Hart has not been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it seems that others agree with that sentiment. One of those is Mark Henry, pleaded to Martha during special personal Hall of Fame induction speech to allow for Owen's entry, and Bret Hart also said his say on Martha's conduct around Owen. And I quote from Bret, "Oh yeah, I think Martha, Owen's widow, is a very obtuse, square-headed person. I think she has done more to erase my brother's Owen memory than she ever did to remember him. I really think it bothers me that fans that love Owen so much don't get a chance to remember him. You do these kind of things for people that are here left to remember them." And yeah, I mean, I don't understand why she wouldn't. You'd think that would be a great honor. It kind of cracks me up that she's against it. You know, you'd think most wives, but then again, I'm not a big fan of him being in it just because his main thing was him dying. I mean, him falling from the sky and dying. Even though Bret Hart is my favorite wrestler of all time. So I'm going to go to my next one, which I think is probably the funniest one, and that's old Richard Spencer. He was detained and sent home while traveling to Sweden. He's all for immigration, but when it happens to him, he is not about it. He does not like the idea of him being detained. And so he was going to Sweden, and he was detained in Reykjavik, Iceland. And he says, "I was turned around in Iceland, which is part of the Schengen zone, due to Poland's ban." Mr. Spencer told The Times, I was visited. That's not my fault. That's something matter here. The Swedish embassy a month ago and was given the go-ahead to visit. I asked about the potential ban, but they said it did not come up and that I was welcome to visit their country. Neither Sweden, Icelandic, nor Polish officials immediately returned the message seeking comment. I don't know what you guys think about this, but I think Richard Spencer is a fucking douchebag, controlled opposition. And there are a lot of videos that say it, but you could think what you did one of them. He went to a very prestigious school in Texas, even though his family was from Massachusetts. And there's a lot of other things that really cracks me up about the guy. He's just kind of picking. I think what he did is he picked a group to join to be head of. He didn't want to be part of the Republican Party. He wanted to be a head of a party, so he chose the White Nationalist Party, or whatever you want to call it. He actually started a institute, what do they call it? The National Policy Institute, a think tank dedicated to the heritage, identity, and future of people of European descent. You think that he would learn how to make a decent sentence whenever coming up with his main message, because that is future of people of European descent. Maybe it was just the way they wrote it. I already talked about how it was kind of messed up over here. So anyhow, I am now, what do you guys think in the chat? What do you guys think about Richard Spencer? All three of you guys. And as you can see, if you haven't yet, I am doxxed. Hi guys. I got my makeshift studio going on here, and it is a good time. I am happy to be back from my state-sponsored sabbatical. Yeah, that's pretty way I think about it too. Douche monkey. Let's go ahead and just break the mood a little bit.
We steal the ball and we're off to the races.
Then scare the other team with our mad dog faces like
What? We like sports and we don't care who knows. From the pregame jokes
to the wrap-up show.
we like
You
sports
gotta
and we
love
don't
Muggsy.
care who knows.
Football, tennis,
Hockey,
throw me the baseball.
now toss me the pigskin.
Now feed me the rock.
Now give me the rock.
You gotta love old Muggsy. He was a boy among men, and he was able to just play it up he hooped it up really well. I really liked old Muggsy Bogues back in the 90s. It's hard to be mad at it. It's hard not to like the guy, really. So now I want to talk about this right here. Dana White has been awarded the key to the city of Las Vegas. About a week ago, he got kicked out of I believe it was the Palms, after winning $2 million. He was told not to come back, and now the mayor of Las Vegas gave him the key to the city. She also gave it to the Fertitas brothers, who were a main member of the UFC, but no longer are part of it. They sold it. What do you think old Dana's going to do with that key? You think he's going to get into the Palms, go try to make some more money? I kind of wonder how he made the $2 million. If he was playing blackjack, or if he's playing roulette, or what. I always liked messing around in the casinos. But what I do want to talk about, since you are here, Doc, is Adventures with Sisyphus First Edition. I want to apologize to you and all of the guests, because frankly I was at least 5/8 drunk from the beginning of it, and by the end of it I was always drunk. I mean, and you really carried the show, and I am glad to see that you are doing so well with what you're continuing on. I know you needed that shove, and I'm not saying I was the main reason you did it, but I am glad that you had a shove to get you moving on to what you're made for. You know, you are one of the best what would you call him, radio host you can find. I hope you make it up there with Joe Rogan. And but I do want to at least apologize for it, because I found out real quick that I am too narcissistic to listen to the reason everybody else, why they do what they do. I like to talk about what I do. And but it is what it is, and I hope the best for you. And I want to make sure to say it on video, doxed and all, that you are making it, buddy. Yeah, they did. I remember that. I think that was the show before I left. Before I took my state-sponsored sabbatical, as I like to call it. And I do have a new thing that I'm doing, and it is, as you can see on the screen, Professor Scron is my alter ego. That way I don't feel bad if I do not achieve any type of goals. But he's going to be a reoccurring guest, but it's going to be me. And I'm just going to try to gain some weight back, man. I've lost a lot of weight over the last couple months. I can't believe it. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm posting all my stats up there right now. As you can see, I'm about, I'm 6'1", 152 pounds. Jeez Louise, that's why I came up with the name Professor Scron. And I'm going to see if I can't gain some weight. You will see Professor Scron in action every once in a while. I got to get the correct wardrobe to do it. But I'm going to add some fitness type things to this. I think it's going to be, what I'm going to be doing with this second edition is I'm going to try to be informative on current events with the news articles, and I'm going to be current with my progress as far as gaining weight goes, which has always been a struggle with me, and I'm going to be honest about stuff, which for many, many years, honesty was probably my worst thing. I would say things that, it's not that it wasn't true, it was always just a little bigger than what it was. And there's a lot of people that do it, but that was one of the main reasons that I doxed myself. That's one of the few things that I did tell the truth about, is I am as white gets. I am your classic barbarian phenotype. And I'm going to just try to roll with this. I have not decided how often I'm going to do this. I know the stats will go up new once a month. So they're going to be changed once a month. I'm going to have the wifey remeasure everything. And hopefully I'm going to be gaining somewhere around 2 to 4 pounds per month. That's the idea. At one time I was a personal trainer, so that will help with things. I do know what to do. I'm not a moron about stuff. And I really liked hearing myself talk, which is another reason why I was not very good at listening to people talk. But I'm trying to humble myself and listen to other people. So if you have critiques or anything, be sure to give them, because I will be listening. Let's go ahead and get to another article, though. And we'll go to one of my favorite topics, the Indiana Pacers. So Indiana Pacers are my favorite basketball team. I've liked them for as long as I can remember. And they did sign their first round pick, the 23rd overall pick, Aaron Holiday. Aaron Holiday is actually brothers. He has two brothers in the NBA, Drew and I want to say Jordan. And he's small. He's only 6'1", but he's been hooping it up. He has been hooping it up this summer league. This is a little little old. I just wanted to say that they signed him because I was worried they weren't going to sign him because they have Darren Collison, and I hate that guy. And this guy, Darren Collison, is not the right guy for the job, in my opinion. And then they have backup Corey Joseph, which he's okay. I don't know. I really think that he's got a chip on his shoulder. Aaron Holiday's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got two bigger brothers in the league, and he wants to make his way. He really does. So Aaron Holiday has signed his rookie contract with the Pacers. The team announced on Sunday, which would be last Sunday. Indiana's first-round draft pick is set to make his summer league debut on Friday afternoon when the Expedition squads take on the Houston Rockets. I believe they won that game. And the last game I watched, they played the Spurs, and they beat the Spurs by 12. I think he had 20 points that game. And Kevin Pritchard has left the door open for the scrappy off-ball shooting threat to earn minutes next season. And this is from Pritchard, who's the assistant coach. He goes into the season behind Corey and Darren. Pritchard says following the draft, but I see him competing for minutes. One thing you know about the third point guard position is during the season you get a chance to play. I'll be shocked if he didn't play some next year. I am predicting that he will be the number 2. Him and Lance Stevenson will be hooping it up by All-Star break. He's retarded good for how small he is. He really wants it, and that's what Indiana basketball is about: blue collar, gold swagger. So he can earn over his first 4 years $10.4 million, and that's just insane for basketball. You know that you can make that type of money, and he's 6'1". He just wants it. $1.9 million is what his first year salary is, and but I really think he's good. The only problem is that he has taken Corey Joseph has taken his $7.9 million, and his guarantee, and Collinson's already guaranteed for $10 million because this was last week. So I am looking forward to Aaron Holiday. I believe his number is 3. If you happen to be watching any basketball, which I'm guessing a lot of my viewers do not, all 3 of them. And let's see, what else do I got? I have, what is there any basketball? Anybody watch any basketball? Put a big old 1 in the chat if you watch basketball. Okay, I guess that's a big no. And I'm going to end my session here in a second with this. I don't know if anybody else heard this, but new Bruce Lee bio debunks myth about Kung Fu Jesus. This is a CNN report, but I've seen it in multiple sources. I just like the way this one is written. So, Bruce Lee was training a friend one day when he did something unexpected. The star of the classic film Enter the Dragon was already known for his fanatical fitness regimen. He didn't smoke or drink. He gobbled vitamin supplements and drank raw blended hamburger meat. He transformed himself into the lithe fighter who could do 2-finger push-ups and sent burly men flying with his famed one-inch punch. Bruce Lee ended his training session at his home on this particular day with a different type of flourish. He lit a joint and started puffing away. And my stepdad told me that he used to eat hash. And I'm guessing that that actually, I mean, marries the same idea. I heard that he didn't smoke weed, that he ate it. And that way you didn't get it into your lungs. But anyway, it came from a box of marijuana cigarettes he kept in his garage. Lee would later move on to hashish, carrying it around in little bags and nibbling on it like edibles. It raises the consciousness level, Lee explained when another martial artist asked him why he got high. That's not the type of story one typically hears about Lee. Since he died at age 32, his legend has grown to such a mythological levels that one martial artist called him the Kung Fu Jesus. I'm guessing that's because he died at age 32. A new biography, though, debunked some of the most popular myths about the man. What's weird is Jesus never said a word about smoking dope or smoking weed, you know. So I don't know why he still couldn't be the Kung Fu Jesus. But here comes another startling thing that most people do not know, and I'm very surprised to find out. Bruce Lee, A Life, by Matthew Polly, is the first in-depth account of Lee's journey from the street-brawling teenager to a global icon. The book, which comes on the 45th anniversary of Lee's death, features interviews from everyone from his childhood classmates to friends who saw him smoke up to the woman who last saw him alive. Lee's charisma, ambition, and relentless appetite for combat leaps off the pages. You can practically hear his cat-like shrieks in some of the most vivid sections. If you think you know Lee, this book may shock you. Among its surprises, Lee was a kinetic genius who could quickly master any martial arts fighting style, but he never learned how to ride a bike and was declared medically unfit for the draft after failing his physical. I did read the Jeet Kune Do book, and there's a lot of wrestling stuff in there, and that really surprised me that he had a very good concept of wrestling, even though you never seen him really do any of it. And then that he was medically unfit. It has to be because of his weight. I don't understand any other reason why he'd be considered unfit, unless they found his heart condition before anybody really knew about it. But he has been portrayed as an impoverished immigrant who came to America to make it big, but he actually grew up in an affluent Hong Kong family with his own chauffeur and 2 live-in maids. And that's something I did not know. And he's here comes the big spoiler alert. He is seen as a Chinese superhero with a statue in Hong Kong, but he was also part Jewish. So Bruce Lee the Jew ended up in movies. Odd, Of all of the kung fu fighters out there, the Jew is the one that made it in. Big surprise. Polly, who interviewed at least 100 Lee's friends and family members, say people often forget that Lee's virtually unknown in the United States when he died. His breakthrough movie, Enter the Dragon, was released less than a month after his mysterious death in Hong Kong in July of 1973. And then it goes on. He never apologized for being Asian. And this is actually a very good book, or a very good article, even though it is by CNN, which I'm not a big fan of CNN. And that's his wife. And, yeah. And it was written from a place of love. See, that's kind of one thing that this Polly guy, I'm going to, like, try to figure out who this guy is, because here in the next one he's like, David Miller, the author of Tao of Bruce Lee, says fanboys won't love Polly's book. Those guys need to believe in Kung Fu Jesus, says Miller, whom Polly consulted for his bio, and they're not getting that. They're getting a guy who is human. And one other thing that I didn't know, that he taking out Sammy Davis Jr.'s bodyguard. If you don't know who Sammy Davis Jr. is, I am sorry for you. He is one of the funniest guys, and he was able to take just bullshit after bullshit from the Rat Pack. I guess he was considered part of the Rat Pack, but he was just the whipping boy. And if you look at a picture of him, you'd understand why. Lee, indeed, seemed superhuman in his film's fight scenes, but how good was he when the cameras weren't rolling? people still debate the question, and there are very few things. He was in this one. I found one sparring session. He's really fast. I mean, that's what I can say. Miller says Lee is probably the best martial artist at the time of his death, but wasn't unbeatable. Though Lee trained with and taught martial arts champions like Chuck North and Joe Louis, Miller says he's not sure how Lee would have fared in a fight against a top flight boxer. Now that's a completely different genre, you know. I mean, that's like saying a boxer and a guy that, if you're boxing, you're spending 100% of your time with punching. Now, if you start kicking, that means you're taking some of that attention off, even if it's just a little, on the kicks. So you're not devoting the same amount of time. It's like comparing apples and oranges. That's why they invented the UFC. That's why now you don't see any UFC fighters that are just really good at one thing. They all have to be well-rounded in everything, because it's just not that way anymore. And let's see. One man who saw Lee fight had no doubt about what he could do. Doug Palmer, one of Lee's first students in America. He is one of a small group who trained and learned directly from Lee. Palmer, who appears in Paulie's book, met Lee when the martial artist was 20 and knew him until his untimely death. At one point, Lee moved in with Palmer's family. He had no compunction, no hesitation about testing himself against the biggest, fastest, and the best whatever came across, Palmer, now an attorney in Seattle, told CNN. And that is one thing I heard. He was not afraid to fight anybody. And that was the thing, you know, a lot of these kung fu guys, they talk about how, oh, I can't do this because I'll hurt you. We can't do it. I'll just hurt you. And you can really tell if somebody's true blue when they say shit like that. You know, it's like, give me a fucking break. If you're really that tough, you'd want to hurt somebody just for the point of it. Lee didn't have many street fights as an adult because he quickly showed would-be aggressors they didn't stand a chance. Palmer said, who's writing a memoir entitled Bruce Lee's Sifu Friend and Big Brother. Most challenges he could handle without a fight. The way he could tie somebody up or hit them at will or deflect their punches at will is very clear. Very few people would push that. Paulie says everyone he talked to saw Lee spar or fight rendered the same verdict. He was very, very, very good. Paulie listed the reasons why. Lee was a genius at body movement, who could master any martial arts style, could read opponents and know when and how they were going to attack, seemingly before they even moved. He had otherworldly quickness, Paulie says about Lee's body, and was like one giant fast twitch muscle. He fought a lot. He liked to fight. It made him happy, Paulie says. And it continues on. I mean, it's just crazy how he, here we go. Paulie tells another story about Lee taking out a humongous bodyguard of Sammy Davis Jr. Lee. Lee was accompanying two friends during his days as a struggling actor when the trio ran into the bodyguard near a Las Vegas casino. The man suddenly raised his hand to wave at someone behind Lee, but Lee thought the bodyguard was about to attack him. Quicker than a blink, Lee kicked out one of the bodyguard's leg, locked up his arm, and bent him backwards until he was helpless, and went right at his throat with the points of his fingers, Paulie writes. And the story ended with Lee's apology to the bodyguard, asking, what the hell did you do to me? Whenever you start beating up bodyguards, that's awesome. But anyway, I don't know what you guys think about Bruce Lee, but I think he is a very, very good fighter, at least. I'm going to go ahead and end there. 45 minutes, that ain't too bad. I don't think these shows are going to be too long unless I gain an audience, which probably will not happen because it's slow going. And I am a douche nozzle. Anyways. But I'm going to let you guys go with that. And as always, I want you guys to have fun. And I don't know. I'll let you guys know when I'm going to do the next one. I guess that was a really long article. I was surprised how long it was. I mean, I read it twice too. But whenever you read something versus whenever you're saying it is a lot different. I'm going to try to work on... Ah, thanks, Doc. I might have to do that one day. Whenever you have your ramble streams, of course. But as far as it goes, I'm trying to build something. I don't know what yet. I think I have a decent idea going. I just got to work on it, and it's going to be hard for me because I am not a presence, and I don't plan on. I'm thinking about making a Facebook page. My Twitter got suspended, and they want me to give me my phone number and all this other stuff to get it back, and I am not giving Twitter my phone number. I just do not see the point in why they need my phone number. I don't see it. I don't know why they want it, and I don't really want to give it to them. But I have a lot of work. I want to start editing more and having more clips. As you know, we've already talked about that before. You know, I wanted to do clips and stuff, and you were like, "What's going on, Blackout? Doing all right?" I'm actually getting ready to end it. Let's see. Next time I'll have to. You can always get a burner phone. I might have to do that. But as I was telling Doc, they suspended my Twitter and they want my damn phone number. So I'm thinking about creating a Facebook and doing the Facebook way. I was once a anonymous, but I went doxified because I'm just tired of people trying to hold that shit over you. You know, he's got my docs. He's got my docs. Everybody wants to sit there and whine and cry about that stuff. If they really want to find me, they can come find me. Let them come find me. Let them call my work. I mean, oh well, that's on them. And they're the ones that have to live with it. They're the ones that have to deal with being pieces of shit and spending their lives inside their rooms with probably their mothers taking care of them. And these are the people that just want to do that stuff. And you guys know who the fuck you are. They want to try to dox me and scare me. Fuck them. That shit don't work with me. I'll go ahead and put my ugly mug up. And I mean, I really, I feel for the guys that get swatted and stuff like that. That's fucking nuts. I can't believe that people go about and then they want to act like it's for ethical reasons or it's because it's right. And I mean, it's just, if you really don't like somebody, just tell them you don't like them. Tell them you don't like them. And the internet is huge enough. If there's anything I've learned from my state-sponsored sabbatical is whenever you're in a little room, then you got to deal with people. But the internet is fucking massive. If you don't want to deal with people, all you got to do is do one click. One click, you block their ass. You don't ever got to talk to them again. And if they don't like it, they can kick rocks. They can try to find you, make new accounts. That shows what's the term? I'm living rent-free in their head. That shows, whenever they do shit like that. But whenever you're inside a little fucking box and you don't like the motherfucker you're in there with, then you really learn about how much you're going to deal with somebody. And now that, I'm not dealing with, if they want to cause drama, they can go ahead and cause drama. And I hope the best for everybody. I don't want to cause drama with anybody. I'm a lover. I'm a big pussy. And if anybody wants to say hello, that's exactly right. Take the high road by docs, and I don't know. And they'll try to convince you of it too. That's the funny thing. They'll try to convince you that, we had to prove this guy was a liar by getting cops to come to his house. And where I'm from, yeah, you don't do that. You don't bring cops to people's house. You just plain don't do that, because you don't know what's going on inside that house, and it's none of your business. But I'm gonna get off here, and I really want to thank everybody for showing up. And I don't know if I'm gonna make Sunday at 4 a regular time or not, but it will probably at the longest be an hour show, because I'm just gonna read off the articles and stuff that I enjoy, and a couple clips that I make up every time, my little teeny clips. And I tell you what, Blackout, I will show you the clip of my week, or the clip of the week. Let's see. So I want to take that off. I want to take off the stats. And here is the unnecessary 90s basketball. Oop.
We steal the ball and we're off to the races.
Then scare the other team with our mad dog faces like
What? We like sports and we don't care who knows. From the pregame jokes
to the wrap-up show.
we like sports and we don't care who knows.
Football, tennis,
hockey, golf.
throw me the baseball.
Now toss me the pigskin.
Now feed me the rock.
Now give me the rock.
And that right there is Muggsy Bogues, the shortest player ever in the NBA. And he is blocking, he's guarding and blocking probably the best player in the NBA. And Michael Jordan even mentioned that he was one of the hardest guys to play against, because he was on top of you. He was just a scrapper. And you gotta love Muggsy. He had his own commercials and everything. He was a little cult favorite for a little bit. I think he was sponsored by Sprite. But with that, I will let you guys go, and I'm back. You know, I'm done with my sabbatical, and I'm gonna keep on keeping on. And like I told Doc, you know, and hopefully Doc tells all the guests, because they don't talk to me. But you know, I'm sorry for being such a drunken idiot, you know, and not really wanting to listen and showing up late to shows and asking questions that were asked 10 minutes ago. And if it wasn't for Doc, I don't think that stuff would have made it very well. And Doc made that show what it was, and now I'm going to try to make a decent second edition. And with that, I will say bye.